The story opens on New Year's Eve 1961 at the Old Theater in Derry. A young boy named Maddie Clements sneaks into a showing of The Music Man. He's caught by the usher, but the projectionist, Hank Grogan, intervenes with kindness. His daughter, Ronnie Grogan, lies for Maddie and lets him slip away unseen. From the start, we sense Maddie isn't just acting out, he's trying to vanish from Derry. Maddie sticks out his thumb hitchhiking, desperate to get anywhere but Derry. He is picked up by a seemingly normal family: father, pregnant mother, daughter, and son. At first, it feels like deliverance, but the mood shifts hard. The daughter dips her fingers in a container of liver-like contents, sniffing them, and presses them under Maddie's nose. The mother prompts the son to speak in weird, odd vocabulary, spelling out disturbing words. Driving away, Maddie relaxes until he realizes they are circling back into Derry, not away from it. Maddie panics and tries to grab the wheel. In the struggle, his hand strikes the pregnant woman's belly. She goes into a savage, unnatural labor. A winged, demonic baby with black eyes bursts into the world. It attacks Maddie in the car. As it lunges, the pacifier flying from Maddie's mouth is flying out the car window. Maddie's fate? Unknown. We know he doesn't walk out clean. We fast forward 4 months. Maddie is missing, presumed dead. The town tries to carry on. We meet new characters. Lily Bainbridge, a social outcast. Her father is dead. Bullies torment her. Teddy Uris, thoughtful boy, uncle to future Stanley Uris. He sees more than he lets on. Phil Malkin, conspiracy theorist kid obsessed with the local Air Force base. Ronnie Grogan, still haunted by the night Maddie disappeared, the last person to see him alive. We get a flashback. On that New Year's Eve, Maddie took Lily to the town's standpipe. She opened up about her father's death. He tried to kiss her. She pulled back. He ran off into the night, and that's the last time she saw him. The horror picks up again via whispers and visions. For Lily, while drawing a bath, she hears Maddie's voice singing "You Got Trouble" from the drain. She begs him to come home. A voice whispers back, "He won't let me." 2 bloody fingers poke through the drain. For Teddy, that very night, in his bedroom, the lampshade transforms into stitched-together faces of Holocaust victims, an atmosphere born of his father's stories about concentration camps. The children realize Maddie is trying to reach them, but the force behind this is far more malevolent. Lily, Teddy, and Phil begin investigating. They dig up a newspaper article. Ronnie Grogan is the last known person to see Maddie alive. They approach her. She's hostile at first. Later, after she admits she's heard voices from the pipes, children screaming, singing "You Got Trouble," she changes her mind and agrees to help. Parallel to the kid's story, we follow Major Leroy Hanlon, father to future Mike Hanlon from the original universe. He arrives at the Derry Air Force Base with his comrade, Captain Paulie Russo. Leroy is among the few black servicemen in the base. He faces racist insubordination from another airman. Later that night, in his quarters, 3 gas-masked men burst in demanding classified specs for a B-52 bomber. Paulie rushes in. The attack is fought off, but the threat and the idea of a hidden experiment in Derry lurk. The group of kids, including Ronnie, Phil's little sister Susie Malkin, gather at the closed Capitol Theater. Ronnie screens The Music Man. During the "You Got Trouble" number, Maddie appears on screen. He cradles a bundled blanket. He addresses the group. "You're the reason I'm in here, 'cause you lied, 'cause you weren't there." His face distorts into a monstrous version of himself, a Pennywise-like smile. He throws the blanket through the screen. The demonic bat baby from the cold open emerges into the theater. It flies chaotic, brutal. Teddy, Phil, Susie are slaughtered. Lily stumbles into the lobby, blood-covered, holding Susie's severed hand. Ronnie watches in horror.
Lily Bainbridge wakes from another nightmare, but this time she knows it wasn't just a dream. The attack at the Capitol Theater really happened. The blood, the screams, the faces she can't forget, they're all real. Outside her window, police cars sit parked in the darkness, their lights casting cold flashes through her curtains. The Derry police have decided Hank Grogan is the man to blame, even though there's no proof. In this town, suspicion is enough. Across Derry, a new family arrives. Major Leroy Hanlon returns home, reuniting with his wife Charlotte and their son Will. They've come to start fresh, but Derry doesn't welcome newcomers. Will's first day at school turns sour fast. The other kids target him, mock him, shove him, until a quiet boy named Rich steps in. Their friendship sparks a faint sense of warmth in an otherwise cold town. Then the horror returns. Late that night, Ronnie Grogan lies in bed trying to sleep when her world starts to twist. The sheets around her shift, the room grows darker, and the mattress seems to breathe. Her bed turns into something alive, a grotesque, pulsating version of her dead mother. The voice that follows is filled with venom. Her mother blames her for dying in childbirth, and before Ronnie can scream, an umbilical cord wraps around her body and drags her toward a stomach lined with teeth. Inside, a pair of glowing yellow eyes open wide. Pennywise is there. Then her father bursts in and everything vanishes. She's left shaking, not knowing what was real. Meanwhile, Lily finds herself trapped in a different kind of nightmare. Police Chief Clint Bowers calls her in for questioning. He's under pressure to give the town someone to hate. He threatens her, saying if she doesn't cooperate, he'll send her back to Juniper Hill. Terrified, Lily says the one thing that seals Hank's fate: she can't be absolutely certain he wasn't at the theater. That single line is all Bowers needs. Hank Grogan is arrested, and Lily's friendship with Ronnie shatters. Derry always finds a way to turn the victims against each other. Days later, Lily tries to move on, doing something normal, shopping for groceries, but even there the past finds her. The aisles start to twist and bend, the colors drain, and the faces on the cereal boxes become the children who died. Jars of pickles contain severed heads, torn limbs, and the mutilated face of her father, reassembling itself into something monstrous. The shoppers see only a girl screaming at nothing, thrashing through the aisle. When it's over, Lily is dragged away to Juniper Hill. Derry has claimed another mind. But while the town sleeps, something bigger is happening beneath it. On a nearby military base, Major Hanlon confronts General Shaw. He's discovered that the attack against him wasn't an accident, it was a test. Shaw calls it Operation Precept. The mission? To locate and weaponize a being buried beneath Derry, something ancient that feeds on fear. The general believes it can be used. Hanlon is recruited because he's a man without fear. And guiding them through this mission is a familiar name: Dick Halloran, the psychic from The Shining. Using his shine, he leads them towards strange energy sources surrounding the town, like beacons marking something vast and buried. Floodlights cut through the mist as Halloran's team unearths an old car riddled with bullet holes buried deep in the dirt. Inside are the skeletal remains of several people. It's the infamous Bradley gang, victims of another of Derry's dark stories that always traced back to Pennywise. General Shaw looks over the bodies.
We jump back inside a fun fair in 1908, a place that feels innocent for a moment, then quietly poisoned by something lurking just out of sight. A young boy, Francis Shaw, moves through the noise and color with the kind of curiosity that leaves a child wide open. He wanders into a freak show tent where a tall, twisted figure steps out of the shadows and terrifies him. Francis runs to his father, hoping for comfort, but gets a slingshot instead. His father calls it a way to toughen him up. That moment lands like a seed that will grow into something heavy later in the episode. When their car breaks down on a lonely road, Francis meets a native girl named Rose while fetching water. The exchange between them feels simple at first, then becomes a real connection. He trades the slingshot for the water, and the two drift into an easy friendship, running around the forest like they've known each other longer than a few minutes. That warmth cracks as Francis pushes deeper into a restricted part of the woods. The trees close in around him, and the same humanoid figure from the freak show begins stalking him from between the trunks. Its footsteps echo like something ancient pressing in from all sides. Just as it lunges, Rose steps into the moment with the slingshot and fires a shot that lands with real force. The creature recoils. The story cuts forward to the present, where Francis Shaw has grown into General Shaw, a man shaped by that encounter. He pursues the entity with the desperation of someone who carries old terror under his skin. He brings in Dick Halloran and hands him the same slingshot from that childhood encounter. Dick has psychic gifts, and Shaw wants him to use the object as a link to whatever it truly is. Once Dick touches the slingshot inside the helicopter, everything around him falls away. His mind drops straight into Pennywise's lair, a subterranean place where time feels stuck
and hunger sits in the air like fog. He sees a clown wagon with the paint peeling like dead skin, human shapes floating above him as if caught in a dream. Two yellow eyes rise out of the dark and lock onto him. A voice asks him who he is, and the fear hits him so hard he tries to jump from the helicopter. Leroy Hamlin drags him back before he falls. Later, Dick and Leroy stand in a quiet tension. Dick tells Leroy he recognized him as one of the masked men from Shaw's experiment, the one who stayed calm when everyone else broke. There is a cold intelligence in Leroy that Dick wants no part of. The two settle into a sharp, cautious respect that adds an unpredictable edge to their partnership. While all of this unfolds, the kids take their own path into the truth. Lily comes back from Juniper Hills carrying fear, determination, and the need to clear her family's name. She meets up with Ronnie, and together they decide to gather proof that the thing haunting Derry is real. They bring in Will, Leroy's son, along with Rich, who claims to know how to work with the occult. Their plan leads them to a graveyard at night, where they set up a seance that feels shaky from the start. The ritual goes wrong fast. The air tightens, and the ghosts of the kids they lost begin rising around them. The shapes move with a jerking, broken rhythm, closing in on the group. Panic hits all four of them at once. Will gets separated and finds shelter inside a crypt where the shadows move like they have a pulse. He raises the camera, takes a photo, and runs back to the others. When they develop the film, the image they see is a blurry silhouette hiding in a dark corner of the crypt. Will stares at it for a long moment before he answers the question hanging in the room. He names it without hesitation. He says it is a clown.
Lily, Will, Ronnie, and Rich walk into Chief Bauer's office with their ghost photos. They want the police to take the threat seriously. The police look at the pictures and say the ghost children are gone and the clown is only a statue. The police refuse to help, so the kids realize they must protect themselves. No adult will step in. The danger grows around the Hamlin family. Leroy takes Will to the river for a simple fishing trip, hoping for a calm moment. Will stands by the water and a burned version of his father rises from the river and drags him under. Leroy pulls him out and both of them see a red balloon in the trees. The balloon shows that the threat is close and real. At the same time, Charlotte pushes the police for answers. She uses her past as a civil rights activist to demand the truth. She gets a visit with Hank Grogan. Hank explains he has an alibi, but he cannot use it because he was with a married white woman. If he admits this, he could be killed. His fear shows how dangerous Derry already is before the creature even arrives. Will tries to understand what is hunting them. He believes the creature feeds on fear and becomes stronger when they're scared. Lily panics and steals her mother's anti-anxiety pills. She hands them to her friends, hoping the drugs will reduce their fear and make them harder for the creature to attack. The kids take the pills because they want any kind of protection. The most shocking moment comes from Margie, Lily's former friend. The patty cakes pressure Margie to prank Lily, but Margie tries to stop the plan. Before she can speak, the creature targets her. Her eyes bulge and bleed like the parasite snails from science class. She runs into the school woodshop. She grabs a bandsaw and injures her eyes in a violent and terrifying way. Lily tries to stop her, but when other students arrive, they see Lily covered in blood. They think Lily attacked Margie. The moment destroys Lily's image inside the school and leaves her shaken. The story then shifts into a long flashback. Dick Halloran uses his psychic power to reach Tanyel's ancestral memory for General Shaw. The memory shows a young Tanyel listening to his Aunt Rose telling the story of the Galoo. She says that millions of years ago, a dark spirit fell to Earth inside a meteor. The indigenous people learned that pieces of the meteor could hurt the spirit. When settlers came and ignored the warnings, the spirit fed on them and grew stronger. A group of indigenous children entered the spirit's hiding place, broke more pieces off the meteor, and buried them around the woods to create a border that kept the spirit contained. The memory ends with Tanyel telling Halloran to follow the tunnels under the old well. Then we are shown the Neibold house standing in silence, waiting for what comes next.